Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode we headed over to Windibank's pawnbroker, meeting with the owner to rectify the violent issue, only for the accusation of a mistake, resulting in Mr. Windibank holding a gun to his own head. After dealing with what turned out to be Sholmes' misunderstanding, we examined the store until Gina Lestrade entered the premises, having taken out a coat from storage with a music disc within, but before we could get to the bottom of this new situation, another person is now entering the store. Out of my way, please. Fancy. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem. As long as you remove yourself, I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker?
Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no?
Yes,
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my! Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's. Or it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Or we should bow because it's not our issue, but still. Let's converse. The gentleman's accusation. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now.
No, I swear it. I swear to God.
It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets.
Yet again?
Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're gonna cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police.
Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove, and you think I'm the dodgy one.
I'm sorry, but no one's gonna believe you.
Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it.
Oh, I have evidence, naturally.
You what?
What is your evidence, then?
Evidence that the article Mr. Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant.
I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh?
I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not?
Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then, how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's... Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt.
A watchword? Interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windibank.
As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret.
That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all.
Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The data deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword.
And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article.
That's right, sir. Yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on 15th of February. With a watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir.
But how?
Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt.
I think the room for doubt would be the stylings.
So what am I doing now? Not moving. So I still haven't checked out Baker Street. Can I speak to you directly? Picture postcard gentleman.
Excuse me, but who are you?
One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you.
Oh, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here.
Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices.
You might be thinking of somewhere else, and what was that theatrical gesticulation about?
Perhaps, anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your name first before inquiring after the name of another.
Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant.
I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchanté.
Enchanté. She is so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks. But that name is suspicious.
Now to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off.
Every move he makes, every breath he takes. I can't stand watching him.
Okay then. Dum 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 dum. So, let that be the end to the matter. Thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back.
This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar.
And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you?
Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute. That disc is mine.
Ah! What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Oh my. Yes, there's blood on the disc.
It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them.
I found it first, all right? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oi, you take it.
Me?
If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it.
Mr. Strahd,
Why is this disc so important to her?
The music box disc has been entered into the court record. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please.
No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars.
What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? I do wonder. I can't converse with anyone at the moment. I can click on them. But this feels like a job for someone very annoying. Who can cut to the heart of the matter. Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you.
It would seem that my inferences are correct.
Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again?
My dear madame, sometimes I wonder. Were my genius for deduction to be commoditized, how much could I pawn it for? Pawn yourself. It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. But who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman? What's the right thing to do here? Well, I guess I just listen. Because I want to. Because it's fun times. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament.
Where the blue blazes have you been, eh?
Pardon?
When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later.
Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict, you have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon? The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg.
It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction.
Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Sholmes logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Mystery. Man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. Oh, hello. What's that in your hand? As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is something ulterior for your actions. An ulterior motive indeed. The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years! The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. The end of any walking cane should be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you've conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. You tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. Sure. Topic 2, the great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there's ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway. And the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank, on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank. The special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Yes, fine. I've just revealed it. It's still the Great Exhibition's reserve funds, the great crime. Is that all? Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. You say that, but I think you were wider from the mark than you ever were before. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? An impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said? Then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windibank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. Oh my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them. And once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confining you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Gotta hope it's like Play-Doh or something at this point in time. We can completely change it into a different shape. Mash it up. Start again. Very well then. Let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction time. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Right, topic 1. Mystery man's aim. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery, he says. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. So, by Mr. Shums's reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Okay, time to examine everything we can. A stylish hat that now doesn't match your coat. That silk top hat is whiter than white. Only an English gentleman could hope to carry off something so bright. But it looks so incongruous with the black overcoat, don't you think? Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. How about it, Mrs. Naruhodo? I think you'd look rather fetching in a white top hat. Well, you know, I think it might look rather incongruous with my black university uniform, so... That's a proper English gentleman's cane, isn't it? Look at the beautifully polished brass on the handle. Yes, but Mr. Sholmes is right. It's not the sort of handle you usually see on a cane. Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. Perhaps you could adopt a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. It might rather suit you. I have a feeling it might argue with the sword around my waist. It certainly is a flyer from Mr. Windibank's shop. Let's see. Windibank wants you, pawnbroker's assistant, required. It's an eye-catching advertisement, that's for sure. I've seen the same flyer up here inside the shop, I think. Perhaps Mr. Windibank is always in need of more staff. So Mr. Benedict came here to apply for a job. That's just too hard to believe. Well, hello. Scribbled writing. Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade, height 5'2", green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness! There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although, if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windibank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th of April, which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? Meanwhile, I guess that's later because that's still Kane on the entry, but take that! That's what we're given. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertained to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery here. Ah! You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. That, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windibank's Pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years! The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Miss Naruhodo. Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement. Yes, exactly, and Mr. Shums is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't, though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Shums identified the cane as suspicious. In other words,
There's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Could it at all be the fact that the initialing is AG instead of Eggert Benedict? EB. Look here, Miss Susanna. There are some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their name. So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously... Oh. AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? Because it's not quite right. But who does that actually belong to? Or more to the point, who actually is this person? The mysterious gentleman is still labeled as a mysterious gentleman, not Eggert Benedict, even in this current text. So with that said and done, our Great Deduction, or our course correction, is well underway. We know ourselves the next answer. Now it's time to bring more secrets out of this man, find out possibly who he really is, why he's here, what he's doing. Because he's definitely after Miss Lestrade. So we'll find out next time on the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Join me then for the rest of the correction. Bye-bye.